Well, time to get some expert medical advice on this report. Let's look no further than Dr. Joe Kosterich. Hi, Dr. Joe.
Good afternoon, Tracy.
Well, how concerning are these figures? And as a community, what kinds of health problems will they be contributing to in the future?
Yeah, look, bear with me for a moment,
Yes.
Tracy, because what I'm about to say may initially sound contradictory.
Righto.
Our kids and even adults, we probably aren't physically active enough collectively, but this report is rubbish.
Okay.
I mean, this notion that an hour of physical activity per day is the determinant of whether you're physically active or not has no basis whatsoever. The official word always used to be fine 30. Suddenly it's become fine 60. I could make 100% of our children and adults inactive by saying the guidelines recommend 24 hours a day physical activity. It's an arbitrary cut-off that makes no sense and has no basis in science. And unfortunately, it's used by a lot of researchers to basically say, we've got this massive problem, it's out of control, but hey, guess what? For a bundle of government money, we'll fix it for you. So, yes, there is a problem, but absolutely not on the scale that this report has brought out. And it's a problem because the worse you make it sound, people just shrug their shoulders and say, oh, look, it's all too hard. Okay. So, yes, we want to encourage children and adults to be exercising, but let's do away with these sort of nonsense surveys.
Okay, as you said, though, so 1 hour is probably, you know, I guess unsustainable, I suppose, every single day, or like a rigorous exercise for young kids?
There's nothing that says that you have to, and particularly as a child, go to the gym or do formal structured exercise. Yep. You know, once upon a time, you know, children walk to school. Now they're not allowed to. We have helicopter parenting. You know, we have all this. In Queensland, I think they fined parents for letting children walk to school. You know, I was chatting with Gunnett before, before we came on air, getting children to have a dog. You know, we know that if people have a dog, they're more likely to exercise. Let them play in the backyard. Let them go down to the park. You get councils that have told parents to remove cubby houses because it hasn't complied with some bylaw. What do they end up doing? They end up going back on their iPads or their screens. So as a society, we've made it harder for children just to be active, and then we sort of complain that they're not. So it doesn't have to be formal activity, but yes, regular physical activity is absolutely important.
Well, you've listed a whole bunch of viable options right there, Dr. Joe. Let's talk about the mental aspect of it, though, because if you don't do enough, obviously, physical activity, it does affect your mental health, and that report shows that for young kids.
Yeah, look, we know that exercise is good for our mental and physical health, and there are lower rates of depression in people who exercise. And it's also good for resilience, and it's good for stress management. So they mentioned about teenage girls. Now, often, particularly in puberty and adolescence, they really get worried about things. Every little thing is a big drama. By going out and being physically active, they disperse a little bit of the adrenaline. They disperse a little bit of the cortisol, and the anxiety settles down a little bit. Now, it's not to say that exercise is a treatment for anxiety, but it does help their mental health, and it's also a connection, particularly in schools if they're playing team sports, you're doing things with other girls, maybe those that you might not otherwise talk to. So there are a lot of benefits. So what we need is not massive amounts of money to be spent. What we need is for a lot of barriers to be removed that didn't used to exist, so that we just go back to letting children be children and be active.
Absolutely. Always logical with you, Dr. Joe.
We do what we can, Tracy.
All right. We'll leave it there. We'll chat to you soon. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.